I was out with a group of girlfriends recently, and one of them asked the question, at what point do you ask someone for their STI results? If you're single and you're dating, do you ask them for their STI results right away? If you're just doing a hookup or a one time, somebody you met and went home with, whatever, are you asking them for STI results? And my answer was, yeah, you do. And I think that this is sort of a common question. It seems like for those of us who exist in sex positive spaces or kink friendly spaces, for people who are content creators or people who have lifestyles, alternative lifestyles, duh, you ask for the STI results. But I think what we forget is that our common culture is very monogamous, and a lot of people are in long-term relationships, long-term monogamous relationships. And so when those relationships end, because they do, the people coming out of them don't know how to date. They don't know how to navigate a non-monogamous world because they've been in a relationship for the last 15 or 20 years, right? So I think it's a pretty common question that people ask when they first get back out into the dating scene is sort of, how soon do you spill the beans? How soon do you have these tough conversations? And this example is just the STI results, right? But it could be anything. It could be whether or not you want to have kids, whether or not you actually want a long-term relationship versus a fling. It's these hard conversations. I always tell people, regardless of what that hard conversation is, if you're looking for longevity, ask the question sooner rather than later, rather than allowing things to escalate or progress and then you find out that it's completely incompatible. It's better to find that out early, and then you can navigate around it without someone feeling misled or having their feelings hurt later, right? So in this case, this is a health and safety concern. You always are responsible for your own risk. You have to decide what is worth it to risk and what isn't. So, that's up to you. If you feel safe going out on a one night stand or picking up somebody at the bar or going to a sex party with someone that you've not disclosed to or met with, that's two people, one person, each one should be open and honest and disclosing. And I think that's a lot more common with people who are practiced in polyamory or who are practiced in alternative lifestyles. It's a lot less common for folks who are more vanilla or monogamous. And I got to be real with you guys. I have heard some things out there. For example, I once heard a man tell me he did not want to get tested because if he had the answer, he'd have to deal with it. So ignorance is bliss, and therefore he was a hoe, and therefore he's putting out, he's putting his others at risk. He's putting his partners at risk because he refuses to acknowledge or find out his status, right? And so that begs a moral and ethical question. Would you want to engage with someone with that sense of morals and ethics, right? I think we all owe it to ourselves to know our status, to get tested, to be responsible and healthy, particularly outside of monogamous relationships, right? So if you're back new on the dating scene, particularly if, 30s, 40s, 50s years old, and you find yourself dating again, and you have this question about, when do I ask that question? I'm going to say ask it sooner rather than later. It's going to tell you a lot about the person. It's going to tell you how they manage their health. It's going to tell you what kind of morals and ethics they have. It's going to, if they're too uncomfortable to have this conversation with you, if they're not able to look you in the eye and have a real grown-up, mature adult conversation with you about their health and their health status, their safety procedures, their risk levels, if they can't have that conversation with you, that's probably not somebody you want to be engaging with intimately anyway. Things happen. People go out partying, having a good time. Oops, there you go. The best thing I can say is be responsible for yourself. Have your own protection, have your own barriers, and stick to your boundaries and make sure that they get used. If you're going to, waive the STI conversation, then you definitely need to protect yourself. Because the unfortunate truth is there's a lot of people out there that get hot and heavy and that goes out the window. Or you have these guys who say they just are not going to use condoms because they don't like them. Get the fuck out of here. But just the same, I mean, it's real. It's real. These are things that we have to acknowledge and deal with if you want to protect yourself. At the end of the day, the person protecting you is you. You need to protect you. And so this is just like a little PSA. This question came up. It came up very genuinely and honestly from a woman who is recently divorced, who is getting back out and trying to navigate the dating scene. And it's a real question. This is a legitimate concern. And so I was very happy to share what information I had with her about her responsibilities in getting tested. And again, it's your choice. Okay, it's your choice. If you trust your partner, great. If you find that to be an acceptable risk level for you, that's wonderful. Go, you do you. However, you do owe it to your partners to tell them that that is how you operate. I mean, you want to, I get it, it's a one and done. Maybe you don't want to have that conversation. You just want to have some fun. That's a risk. It's a choice and it's a risk. And it's not one that I'm necessarily going to advocate for. So, you know, my personal opinion, when is the time to ask the STI question? Before you engage intimately with someone would be the answer to that. So right away, you know, right away. If your goal is to get some, go get it. I think you owe it to yourself and to future partners to have those conversations. If you can't have the conversation, you probably shouldn't be doing it. It's my 2 cents. And these questions and more are what you can expect to find on the Kinky Q&A. The Kinky Q&A is a once a month virtual Zoom discussion. You can ask questions anonymously on the Kinked Atlanta website under Kinky Q&A. Ask your question, type it in, it'll be anonymous, and then log in to the monthly Zoom meeting and we will discuss the answers to those questions just like this one. So you can expect more of these little videos in the coming months. The Kinky Q&A is really taking off. We can't wait to answer your question or to meet you on our online Zoom in the near future. All right, everyone, follow Kinked Atlanta, kinkedatlanta.com, @KinkedAtlanta. I'm Madam Jess. Protect yourself. Take care.